I'm David Bastian with Kingdom Capital. So if you guys are here with MicroCapClub, you might remember 2 years ago I pitched a children's apparel retailer. Last year I pitched an office liquidation. And this year Ian and Bobby asked me to sign a waiver before I pitched. So I get it. But yeah, so this year we're going to dive straight into the teeth of the tariff wars with an auto parts supplier. The stock is Superior Industries. I own shares. I've left all the inferior industries in 2024. We're turning over a new leaf. So what do? Superior manufactures aluminum wheels. They sell about $14 million a year to major customers. You've heard of most of these. They have a headquarters in Detroit, Michigan. Their facilities are in Mexico and Poland. As you might imagine, they did a deal in 2017 to buy their European operations. They levered up to do that. Since then, they've had to navigate COVID, a supply chain crisis, U.S. auto strikes, and now a trade war. So as you can imagine, that has created some issues with their leverage. They have been slowly restructuring their production. They have first fixed their U.S. operations, and then last year they moved their German production to Poland, which has set the stage for some impressive margin growth despite industry volume declines. The sizzle here is a cap table special situation angle, and so we're going to dive into who you are investing alongside here. So, in this tariff game of chicken, in the debt, we have Oaktree. In the preferred stock, you have TPG. We've got some AR factoring and some cash. And then in the stock, you've got Mill Road. So this is a very highly levered capital stack, and we're at the bottom, baby. All in, it's just shy of $1 billion EV. They've guided to $170 million of EBITDA. In March of this year, 5 times EBITDA is a fairly normal range for auto parts supplier. This one in particular converts cash better than most. All right, so this is where I'm going to spend a big chunk of our time. In the March update, Superior announced advanced negotiations with TPG and their preferred stock, and there's a lot to go through here. So the preferred is due this year, which sounds scary, but it's not. They can refuse to pay it back. This is left over from their 2017 acquisition of Uniwheels. It sits in the TPG Growth 3 sidewall fund that was raised in 2015. On the face, it's a $150 million security that has a 9% yield, and the payoff value is $300 million. So while the interest says 9%, the actual interest is on the face value. Therefore, the effective interest is really only 4.5% on the $300 million payoff value. Right now, they are picking the security as part of their term loan refinance that they completed last year. That adds to the face value. So right now, the effective rate is 9%. But the cool thing is, when they refuse to repay this in September, the rate drops back to 4.5% effective rate. It just gets added onto the payoff amount, not the face value. So, yeah, you refuse to repay your debt and your rate gets cut in half. It's pretty cool. So, you got that. You're picking security. What you have due here is the $300 million. So, you have term loan debt that's at 12%. If you're Superior, why would you pay this off? You have non-cash effective interest at 4.5%. Well, that's why I called management after the March earnings call to figure out what they were thinking. I want to leave this outstanding indefinitely. They are very aware of their negotiating position here. They've also since announced their amendment to their term loan that allows them to carry more cash, which would actually allow them to pay off TPG. So, again, why would they do this? I think they're setting up to take a significant discount to the payoff value of the preferred. And that the reason they want to do that is they're looking to sell the company. Now, you might be thinking, why would TPG do this? Well, this is a 10-year vintage PE fund that's in harvesting mode. And if you do the IRR math, 4.5% pick does some real damage to your IRRs. Instead, they can take something near their initial investment, plus the 9% cash interest they've been collecting for most of the last 9 years, and book a win. Superior wants to get this out of the way so they can run a sale, and I believe this is the main obstacle remaining for the sale and the trade war. I think you get a discount greater than $100 million, which would be more than 2x accretive to the equity at the current market cap. I imagine some of you actually want to know a little bit more about the business. So yeah, they make aluminum wheels. They take aluminum, form it into a wheel, and ship it off to an OEM. Now, this is where the tariff side gets interesting. Only 10% of North American wheel capacity is actually manufactured in the US. The other 90% is fairly evenly split between Mexico and China. So at the same time, the EU has been getting about 6 million wheels a year from China via Morocco, which has been tariffed in March beyond competitive pricing. Superior has 20% capacity at both of their locations and has said they can do $240 million of EBITDA at full capacity, which would be more than 40% growth on this year's guide. So, yes, auto production is not good this year, but this business is unique, and I think Superior is set up to steal market share, given where the tariffs are currently sitting. Step 3, I said, I think they're getting ready to sell. If you look at their February executive agreement updates, I think it strongly implies they're expecting a change of control within the next 12 months. I think the sales process only makes sense if TPG is negotiated out of the picture. Also, this is a business that's doing a lot of EBITDA and has a lot of SG&A that would be synergized if they sold to a larger Tier 1 supplier, which would enable an even higher price. My expectation is Superior will surprise people with how much of a premium they can sell for after they get TPG out of here. All right, so why does this opportunity exist? Tariffs, and more tariffs. Tariffs are changing regularly. We don't know what they're going to be. As they currently stand, they would decimate the U.S. auto industry. Therefore, I don't think they're going to stand. But some will, and the direction has been towards isolating China. I think this TPG security is wildly misunderstood. If you listen to their earnings calls, people asking questions about the security do not understand how strong a position Superior is in on this. You have Mill Road on the board protecting the equity, which you don't often see in situations like this, especially when you've got heavyweights like Oaktree and TPG in your capital stack. Despite what has been a terrible environment for autos, management has been executing really well. They've improved margins across the board despite declining sales volumes in both the US and Europe. They even put a slide in their last deck trying to explain how tariffs really aren't as bad for them as they might be for many other auto parts suppliers. So in summary, I think we've got a good management team here that generates cash. We're going to squeeze out TPG, steal some market share, and sell it all. Thank you. Any questions?
One question. We have time for one question. You're going to make me walk the whole way over there. No. Wait.
Any customer concentration here, and why do they convert cash better than competitors?
So customer concentration is about 25% GM, 14% Ford, 10% Toyota and Volkswagen. So it's a lot of the major OEMs, definitely weighted towards the U.S. auto sector. Cash conversion is mostly just due to relatively minimal CapEx requirements after shrinking their footprint and focusing on more profitable segments of the auto wheel space. Thank you.